Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Rush Roots. Today we have our friend Chris. So, Chris, why don't you tell us who you are and where you're from?
Chris Piazza, Rush admin. I'm from Smithtown, Long Island, in New York. Um, that's about it.
That's about it.
All right.
You're a drummer.
I am a drummer. Yes, I'm a drummer. I play a little guitar. I dabble. I've been a Rush fanatic my whole life. I'm a carpenter during the day. I'm a teacher in the other seasons. I work at a funeral home part time. I work at the library on call. So I try to delve into as much as I can. But that sums me up just about pretty well.
He's a man of many trades.
All right, good deal. All right, well, since we know about you, let's hear how you got into Rush. What got you into them and what kept you around? Tell us about your Rush roots.
It actually took me a long time to figure out, because you're talking 20 years ago. And I was little. And I heard about Rush on the radio originally. And I asked my dad, who's that? You know, because we all know Rush is a different sound than anything else on the local rock channel. And my dad had a Presto cassette from the 90s in his box of cassettes as I was going through them when I was starting to really get into music. I was probably 8 years old. And I popped it in, and that changed it for me. And then I started taking it upon myself at the time to go to the library and look up Rush CDs. FYE was big. My great uncle burned for me the first compilation album. I think it was Chronicles. And
Yep.
That was it for me. I distinctly remember Subdivisions, Free Will, Close to the Heart, Spirit of Radio. Those songs were my first memories of Rush on the radio. I bought a little Sony PA for my room. It was like this big, but just something to hear music out of. And I would actually hear it at work, Rush on the radio.
Oh.
And I would take a little recorder I had and record the radio so I could hear it later.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I didn't know how else to remember or who they were or figure it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome, man.
That's about where it started for me.
Cool.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us about your very first Rush show, the first time you ever saw the band live, kind of, when, where it was, what tour it was?
July 24th, 2010, Jones Beach Theater, Wantagh, New York. My dad took
What'd you
me.
say, July 24th?
Yeah, it's coming up, the anniversary.
So
okay.
So that was exactly
machine.
one day after the show I saw.
Which was where?
Which was
Saratoga
the July
Springs?
23rd, Saratoga Springs. Yeah, maybe it was July 22nd, but it was a show right prior. So that's funny. I never knew that.
I was 16, I guess. Yeah. I regrettably wasn't into them enough for the Snakes and Arrows tour. I didn't have the money to see them on the Snakes and Arrows tour either. But my dad really, I was 16 and my dad really, I was getting into music and my dad wanted to take me to my first big concert. And it was his first time seeing Rush. And he was into Rush years earlier. But I kind of got him back into it, funny enough. So I'll never forget driving home on Ocean Parkway. And my dad said, "There's nothing that will beat that show you just saw." And I remember being speechless the drive home. I'll never forget that. It was my first post on Instagram ever. It was all that good stuff. Just me and my dad, crystal clear night. It was really cool. Just an amazing show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just looked it up. Yeah, exactly one night difference. That's crazy.
That's so funny.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
All right.
It's kind of surprising to me, real quick, that they played back to back at that age. I didn't know they did that.
What were they, like 57 then? 56?
Yeah, it was 10, 11 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rare. I guess they didn't have a choice, but
yeah.
I didn't know that was one day after the other either.
Yeah. Interesting.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't you tell us what your first favorite song and your first favorite album was, and does that differ from your favorite song and favorite album today?
Oh, definitely. My favorite album changes every day. Every month, I'd say. Every month. Because, from a first-time hearer's perspective, Moving Pictures was my favorite. All the hits, the radio, that was my first favorite because that was the most exposure I had to them. And then I took it upon myself to get into deeper albums. And my godfather was actually he is huge into Rush, Frank, and Snakes and Arrows was his favorite album. So he gave me a copy of Snakes and Arrows, and that is probably still my top 2 or 3 favorite albums. Yeah, Snakes and Arrows hits deep for me. Vapor Trails was one of my favorites, but it's so heavy, you know. Sometimes you got to take a break because my obsession with Rush comes in such intensity. I have to step back a little bit, and then I get another wave of a different album. You know,
Yep.
I could be into Presto tomorrow or whatever, but yeah, if I'm speaking honestly and cornily, Moving Pictures would be my first favorite, but Snakes and Arrows is now my favorite. I think the messages are so universal and deep in that album.
Cool.
You know,
They are. Yeah.
That's awesome.
it's hard. That's like picking children, so I don't know.
It is.
It is. It is.
There
hard.
are generally a few that always seem to resonate with people, that always kind of seem to stick around as at the top of their list, and then there's some that kind of fluctuate in and out. Like for me, Test for Echo right now is fluctuating up and up and up and up. But
right.
I'm sure next month it'll
I don't know why. Maybe because it was the
earth,
newest album when I got into them. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure. All right. Well, where can people find you on social media, specifically probably Instagram, if they want to reach out and get to know your bubbly personality self?
I'd love to talk Rush anytime with anybody. Social hour with me is a glass of wine and Rush. So I Chris Piazza, whatever, at Instagram.com. What do you kids call
it? You kids, we're both older than you. What's your Instagram handle?
Christopher Piazza 1.
Okay, fair.
On just about everything, and I think it's the same profile picture on Facebook. Everything. So feel free to reach out anytime.
Easy enough. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Chris, for joining us. Anything else you want to add?
Nah.
Your Rush roots.
Why are we here?
Because we're here.
That's
awesome,
it,
man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Thanks, dude.
Anyone else wants to come on Rush Roots and talk about your Rush origins and your Rush roots, then just feel free to direct message us on Instagram at Rush Fans. Take it easy, everyone.